Hey guys, Mike here. So, boy, what an interesting day in the market. And I bet you a lot of people got caught off guard by the reaction of the market to all the data that came out today. And I'll show you why that happened. Shouldn't be too much surprise once we get through the video and stuff. Again, remember they use the news to move the market where they want to move it. Okay, that's just the way it is. All about liquidity and stuff. Now, also, I want to start by saying I hope everybody's okay who went through the hurricane in Florida. We are fine. Again, just nothing but tree limbs for us, but we didn't get hit head on like a lot of you guys did. So please let us know how you're faring, your properties and all that stuff, how you end up making out. Let us know in the comments. Wishing all you guys the best and stuff. I'll show you a pretty cool video from my father-in-law's house and just show you the damage that was done to his property. I mean, the amount of trees, the crew that went in there for 2 days and worked on, it just amazed me when I saw the video. I couldn't believe it. I mean, just couldn't believe it. And so it's crazy. But, you know, also if you have any questions for Saturday's video, please put them in the comments. I'll get on those tomorrow and put that out for Saturday. And so let's go ahead and get into the data and then the charts and show you some things that are definitely going to be affected by this data. And don't forget, we got big time earnings tomorrow and more data coming out. Okay, so let's start off with this one right here. Initial claims and continuous claims were higher than expected. I can't believe it. It actually wasn't even close, to be honest with you. And then inflation, of course, didn't come in as expected, came in higher than expected. But the key is, guys, it's still going down. Okay, I know it doesn't feel like that. I get it. You don't have to yell at me in the comments. I go, you know, we shop at grocery stores and everything else too. I get that. But it's just not hitting expectations, right? Because when you get into this time right here, or this area where we're this low, it's tough. And when you look back over here, some people might not even know, like in 2012, inflation was 4%. 2016, 2018 was 3%. You know, then you hit zero, so the norm is 2. And so if you look up to the right, we're kind of there except for the core, right? And when you look at where inflation is, you can see, I mean, auto insurance, what are you going to do about that to bring that down? Nothing. You know, rent, what are you going to do with that? Housing. I mean, how do you bring that down now? Again, without a recession, how are you going to bring that down? And so that's still a major problem going on for a lot of people. And core takes out food and energy, which upsets a lot of people because like, wait a minute, that's where a lot of stuff feels like it is, right? And that's because the prices are still way too high. And just imagine how much insurance is going to go up now with all these storms. But this is where my father-in-law's place is. This is all the trees they got out of just his yard, just his now. His son, my brother-in-law, is way worse off than him, and so the other families we know up there. But this is just out of his yard, okay? It took him 2 days to do this. Isn't that nuts? I mean, that is crazy amount of trees that were down there. It was insane looking. And again, can you imagine? I mean, if you're in Florida, especially if you've never been in Florida, like where I live, like every year we go to renew, minimum 25% increase, sometimes 50 to 100% over the last 4 years. That was before these storms, okay? And so can you imagine what the increase is going to be? I don't know how many more insurance companies are going to pull out. We don't have a lot in Florida to begin with. I think almost half the people go through the state program, however that works. I'll probably end up having to start looking into it because every year I've signed with that insurance company, every year that insurance company has left. All right, I mean, it is crazy. So you plan on moving to Florida, you know, check into that for yourself. And again, it's going to go up again. I got lucky; my neighbor was in the business, so it helped me out a lot to know somebody in the business to help navigate that. But if you don't, and you're just staying with the same insurance company, if you're lucky to have the same insurance company, I guess, you know, they just keep hiking at 50 to 100%. It's nuts. And so I don't know how people even afford that. I mean, they keep going this route because I don't know how you fix it because they pass legislation which makes it almost impossible to even sue the insurance company now if they don't try to file or pay you out your claim. Like I just saw interviews with people the other day. They still hadn't got their house fixed from 2 years ago when they got hit by the hurricane. And what's even crazier, check this out. Not only because they have a mortgage on the house, is the insurance company they have not paying out to fix the roof, which is totally damaged on a lot of these houses, right? So water continuously seeps in over the last 2 years. The house is unlivable, but they have mortgages on these houses, so they have to have full coverage insurance, and they can't get another insurance company. So the insurance company they're suing, they have to keep and pay $4,000 to $8,000 a year for a house that is unlivable, and while they pay rent for another place. Isn't that nuts? But welcome to Florida, okay? So that's the kind of stuff you get around here. So anyway, let me know if you know anybody going through that. Now, getting off my soapbox on that one, when you look, what else has been affected? TLT, right? Yields popped at first, then it came back down to flat, and so TLT needs to hold here. If it doesn't hold here, it's going to 92.19 and then 85.57. If we end up getting something, if those yields continue to move up, this is going to continue to push down. Plus, another thing I'm hearing about this is people just taking profits in bonds, but insurance companies may be forced to sell their bonds because they might end up needing money, right? Raise capital and stuff. This is billions of dollars in damage just in Georgia, Carolinas, and Florida, right? So keep that in mind. You might still see pressure. We'll have to see. And when we go in to look at SPX, we talked yesterday about what would support be if we did sell down. It's going to be that box, right? The box we were in since like September 17th, I believe. Okay, and it bounced to the penny. That's where it had, and it stopped right there at that ascending trend line. So if this comes back down, 57.30 is going to be support. Okay, if that breaks, obviously 57.10. But then again, up to the top, if you go up, you don't have a whole lot to go before you start hitting another all-time high. And when you look at the MACD, you can look at the daily. I mean, this right here is the 1 hour, but you go to the daily and it's like, that's about as indecisive as it can be, right? It's like, oh yeah, we're seeing some miniature crosses in there maybe, but that's when it was consolidating. And so you had a bullish cross to the upside, right? Again, bulls are still in charge of this thing, no doubt about that. Bears have failed many times to push down, so that's what they want to do. There's a 4 hour, you can see the cross, but it's not like exaggerating like the other crosses, right? Again, what's kind of giving you mixed signals is all-time highs aren't there. All-time highs are right there, right? So we still hadn't hit that. And you can see Q's ended up flat. The reason why, one reason why is because the semis, I'm going to show you in just a second. But when you look at this on the 15-minute, the real question is, are we going to start to see some selling? Because when you look at this, you know, you got, it's either going to be accumulation right there or it's going to be distribution, right? And what I'm talking about is you see the move up to the left, right? So this is what you would expect to see if they start to sell. Maybe they come down here and then bounces up. But when you look, you know, 1, 2, 3, and then here could be distribution to come down. Okay, that's basically what I'm looking to see if this like plays out. It's not even a big move at all, really, right? Or they want to run us up to the highs first and then have this happen. Because it's going to happen pretty soon, I think, honestly. It's either after the election or right before it. But when you look, what's happening is the semis, right? The semis have been super strong. They all, not all in one day. You'll see one up 5%, one down 2% or whatever. But October, November are good for semi stocks, and you've kind of seen that with a lot of these stocks, especially Nvidia, the king of the stocks. We'll see now that whole AI conference is over, how this reacts and stuff. But you know, Tesla. Don't look at this, man. Tesla. We talked about all this influence, right? The 200-week moving average, support, trend line, channel, all this fun stuff. And in the morning, immediately comes down. There was a heavy put order put in for this. Immediately comes down, wicks right below it, and then just immediately recovers. I mean, it was so fast. And so a lot of buyers were just sitting there waiting to go right beneath that, man. It came down, and basically you can say it maybe used a gap or whatever as a bounce point. That does happen sometimes. But there were just orders just waiting to go, and the person that had that crazy, all those crazy puts made a ton of money in a very, very short amount of time right there, as you can see. And it bounced back up and stopped right there at the bottom of the channel for this event today. I mean, that is, I don't care what you're doing, whether you're a nerd or not a nerd like me when it comes to charts and stuff like that, but that always amazes me, man. When I see that right there, I'm like, wow. So put in the bottom of the comments, you know, what you think is going to happen during this whole Robotaxi event. Again, this video will probably be out before that takes place and stuff. Now, China, again, overnight, we talked about this yesterday. They end up putting more stimulus out there, right? The surprise was I expected to wake up to the Chinese stocks going up 10% again, and they were green, right? Some of them were flat. Some of them were green. The HSI went pretty good. 3% is a big one. The ADRs didn't really move too much, right? 1, 2, 3%, that kind of stuff. Again, some of them were flat, right? And when you go over, what I don't know, I'm not an Elliott wave guy, but it's like, you know, when you pull a fib on this thing, like Bob is one of the most popular for sure, right? And you pull it up, it's like the question is, you know, 0.382 enough, right? That's where it bounced today. Or do you want to see 5? Maybe you want to see the golden pocket come down and then get a bounce, which would make sense. I'm going to move this line up right here, which would be support between the 0.5 and the golden pocket area. Again, if you're an Elliott wave guy, let me know. I've heard 0.382 is what I've read. You would get a bounce, and that's what happened today. Now, when it comes to earnings, again, you're going to have all the banks reporting tomorrow, right? So we'll see what they got to say. And then also you're going to have PPI, core and headline PPI, plus consumer sentiment and inflation expectations out of University of Michigan right there, which everybody loves to see. And so let me know, you know, what you guys think is going to happen tomorrow. Again, feel free to put your questions for Saturday's video in the comments. Feel free to hit that like and subscribe button if you got anything out of it. Really appreciate it. Share that video if you like. Maybe even sign up for the membership, which is less than the McDonald's combo. If you like 2 private videos a week at Discord and a morning news brief, which has everything underneath the sun you can imagine. Whew, gotta get my breath on that one. Anyway, hope you guys got something out of it, man. And I'll see you guys on Saturday.